On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about how to measure success. And in the quick tip, we share a blog that shares tips and tricks for getting more out of life.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay, and thanks for joining us on Internet Business Mastery. We're here to help you have more freedom, more fulfillment in your life by starting your own internet business that's based on whatever your passion might be. We'd like to invite you to get a jump start on your internet business by going to freevideogift.com to get our free video download that'll show you the right way to start your own internet business. So, Sterling, I think I've just realized what my favorite benefit of internet business is of all time up until this point that I've ever experienced.
Okay, what do you got?
Paternity leave.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in fact, I think by the time this episode goes up, I'll probably have already had my baby. In fact, I guess if anybody goes to our Facebook page facebook.com/internetbusinessmastery.com, you'll see whether or not I've posted an announcement there of the birth of our daughter. But yeah, as I've done all this preparation, getting everything ready, it feels like already parenting is a full-time job, and she hasn't even arrived yet.
Yeah.
Just
how many blankets do you have?
I know it's insane. I'm so over-prepared. But the fact that I've had such a flexible schedule is nice. But also especially that we've set up the business so the month of February, I can just, for all intents and purposes, be offline as much as possible. We'll be running a coaching course, but I can do that pretty minimally. And it's nice to know that during that time, the business will keep running, but most of the time I can just be spending with my wife and daughter as we kind of go through this huge life change and this huge change in our family, bonding with the baby, and just kind of finding our rhythm as new parents. So it'll be nice knowing that I can do that for a whole month.
Yeah, I won't be able to experience that paternity leave as I've already had all the kids I'm going to have. But I'll tell you, no, really. Anyway, when I actually had my kids, I was working regular job. And it's funny because I just happened to have just started each of two jobs at the exact same time as I was having my daughters. And so I didn't have vacation days to add. So they gave me 2 days. Both places gave me 2 days.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, there's, so I went back to work. So actually I had family had to fly in, my grandma and her mom or whatever came in to help out because I had to go back to work.
Right.
It was such a bummer because, there was nothing more I wanted to do than just stay there and be a part of it. But I had to go back to work. So it's amazing that that is definitely, I can see how that would be, the number one, benefit so far from this is, taking a month or whatever you need off is so awesome. Just yet another awesome benefit for doing an internet business.
Well, and even better is the fact that my income will stay the same. In fact, it'll probably go up over that time. So often, even if somebody does take paternity leave, they're not paid during that time.
Yeah.
They're just making that choice of, okay, I'll take a month off, and I know I'm docking a month's pay during that time, but I get to take a month off and know that I'll come back with an income that's only gone up. So it's pretty amazing to think that. And certainly, I think probably the time I've been the most grateful to know that I'll be in that position, and that's why it's my favorite benefit yet. After all these years of internet business, it's got to be my favorite one. All right, in this episode, we're going to talk about a listener question that was sent in about how to measure success. How do you know if you're going in the right direction? What are the milestones to look for? So let's go ahead and listen to Kay's question that she sent in.
Hi, Sterling and Jay. My name is Kay Hill, and my website is painfreeperiods.com, which is a website dedicated to natural relief of menstrual pain. I've been working on the site for quite some time now, about a year and a half or so. I'm basically a one-woman show until revenues can sustain outsourcing. But my question is, when you're starting out, what benchmarks do you use to measure success? I am committed to this for the long term, with natural health and healing being one of my passions, But after listening to so many online quote-unquote gurus, I'm not exactly sure how to gauge my progress. Are there any monetary, traffic, or list-building milestones you would recommend to ensure that you're on the right track? I listen to your podcast regularly and have gained so much from your tips and success stories, so I'm really looking forward to your reply, and thank you in advance for your time. Take care.
Well, that is an excellent question. Thank you very much for sending that in, Kay. And definitely want to speak to that because, we know that it's sometimes, people, they can get a little impatient with success. They wonder, am I on the right path? I mean, it's very normal to have that kind of a, waxing and waning of motivation if there's no feedback as to how you're doing. I mean, having that feedback is critical for building the confidence that you're going to need as your business grows and to face the new possibilities, to face the occasional difficulties that come along, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely something that we're happy to speak to, no matter what part of your internet business you're in. Again, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a while, I think this is something that is a valuable lesson for us all to learn. So let's start out with maybe a few principles to keep in mind, and then we'll kind of hop over to some of the actual metrics that we use for measuring success, the kind of milestones to look for. All right, so the first principle is something that you hear us say in the Academy quite often. We say this in our in our segments inside the Academy and the training that people go through, and that is that it's all about progress, not perfection. But definitely perfectionism is something that has held me back at times. And it's that feeling of, well, if I don't know that I can do it absolutely right, or if I don't know that I can get that perfect goal, then it's just not worth doing. And my motivation then tanks, which is really just a fallacy when, perfect is just this construct of our minds. It's like the horizon that you look out to. And as you get closer to the horizon is constantly moving. There's no ever arriving at the horizon. So it's more about learning how to, negotiate the fact that we're driven to achieve, but also that there's no such thing as, a perfect destination that you'll finally reach at some point. And so that's why we like that phrase. It's all about progress, not perfection.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mindset thing, I would say, too, that especially at first, definitely celebrate the progress you get. You get an opt-in, be excited about that instead of going, well, I don't have 5,000 yet. And a lot of people do that and go, okay, I've got this goal of having 10,000 people on my opt-in list, and I have 8 because it's the first day I opened it up, and then they don't celebrate the fact that, wow, I just hit 10. Now I hit 50. Now I hit 100. Now I hit 250. Enjoy those steps along the way, and that will certainly help you keep going.
I wrote a blog post along those lines called How to Ignite Your Goals and Your Motivation. And so if that speaks to you listening to this, then that's a blog post you might want to go check out. And then also there's a nifty book by one of our mentors, Dan Sullivan, that talks about the gap, which is kind of how to manage, that desire for arriving at this perfect goal, but at the same time, the fact that really perfect is kind of this fallacy. The arrival fallacy is another thing that you can Google for in just if you just do a search for the arrival fallacy. And, my own life, it's something I'm working on right now. The idea that, it's hard not to constantly feel like, oh, well, I'm not really successful quite yet, or I'm not quite happy yet. But, once I've done this, then I can be happy. And the truth is by the time we ever arrive at a goal that we've had in the past, our mind has already moved on to the next goal. And so, I like that, Sterling. You need to stop and remember to savor the happy moments, the milestones, the successes that you have along the way. And that's why in our meeting every week, we do that, have a breakthrough segment in our meeting where we stop and go, okay, what's gone well in the last week? What can we feel really good about right now? And that's why we love having breakthroughs on the show. No matter how small or big, if somebody sends in a breakthrough and they're super excited about it and it got us inspired, whether it's talking about their first opt-ins or whether it's talking about making thousands of dollars for the first time in a month or quitting their job. Those are all breakthroughs that we like to celebrate in. The second principle is to remember that only you can define success for yourself. There's this tendency to, and whether it's society that teaches us this, whether it's we picked it up from our parents or, picked it up in schools, is that, so often we're looking to outside sources to define what happiness or success should look like. And so we end up comparing ourselves. And it's like, oh, well, I don't have everything that person has. But the thing is we don't understand, we don't know the things that person might struggle with. We tend to have these filters that might only see the good things in somebody's lives and think that they've got it all perfectly. And since we don't, then we must be inadequate in some way. But there's no way for us to fully be inside someone else's life or mind and know what they've done to get to a certain point or the things that they might not be doing as well, because you've chosen to focus on different things. You're doing, great things in your life that person might be envious for. And there's just nothing constructive in comparing yourself to other people. And you are the only one that can decide what will make you happy. You're the only one that can decide what it is, what kind of relationships you want in your life, what kinds of purpose you want to pursue in your life. What kinds of degree of level and freedom you want, of freedom you want in your life, what kinds of things fulfill you most. And anybody else trying to tell you, oh, well, it should be this or it should be that, however good or misguided their intentions may be, in the end, it's only you that can define that for yourself. So realizing that is also very important. And then also something we've talked about a lot on the show as well as in our training is that it's important that your success and your motivation be more than just money. And there's many reasons for that. I mean, I know that whenever I've made decisions based solely on money, it often leads to missteps. It often leads to reduced fulfillment and happiness for myself. And that's why we're so focused on purpose and fulfillment and mindset in our show and in our training, because if all we did is talked about the mechanics and if all we did is talked about the money, we feel like we'd really be doing you a disservice as well as for ourselves. But we get a lot of passion about talking about, definite major purpose, lifestyle design, and things like that. So you need to know, what is that you're going for? Is there a certain kind of change you'd like to enact in the world? Is there, what are the things you would do with that more money? What would you buy with that money? Are there conveniences for yourself and your family? Is it more education? Is it more traveling? Is it, a bigger house? Is it a smaller house and being more flexible and free to travel the world all you want? What are the things that it's going to bring you more than just the money? And then that'll, help when it comes to the progress. Because if you're only focusing on your success and only measuring your success by how much money you're making in a moment, then you're definitely going to be constantly dissatisfied with the progress that you're making. So that's kind of the third principle, is to measure your success, measure the milestones by more than just the money that you're making.
Yeah, one thing when we first started, before we monetized the show and the business, was when people would write in or comment on the blog saying, even when they would just comment, I would, get really excited about that. And then when they would say how much we helped them, which was, I think, one of the main goals we had from the beginning was to, we talk about being on a mission to, help others find freedom as well. And so to me, there was a fulfillment in actually doing that, even if it was just, helping somebody over just a tiny stumbling block or an entire huge mindset change for them. And that helped me a lot too, as we were going along, to also have that joy coming from like interacting with the community. And that was just one way I added a measurement as well, above and beyond money.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now that we talked about those three principles, let's go ahead and talk about, well, what are some of the metrics for success? I mean, it is, it's not a bad idea to have ways of, and even some actual logistical, physical numbers that you look at. So in terms of numbers, let's go ahead and talk about those things. When you're first starting out, your first primary goal is going to be to, the first things we teach you after you define your niche and to find the audience that you want to work with in your business is to start, to create a site to be the hub of your brand, and then to start creating valuable content on that site and start building up the following. It's all about having that following, that audience of loyal people, the kinds of people you want to deliver value to, the kinds of people that you're earning the trust of. Because if you earn their trust and you're interacting with them and finding out what they want most, then when it does come time to make money, that's going to be a lot easier and also a lot more fulfilling. So early on, it's all about the growth of the following. And so the kinds of metrics that you're going to want to look at, we teach you about email list, we teach you about Twitter, are two of those early things when it comes to following. So just looking at, okay, when I started my Twitter account, is that following, is it growing? Or is it just stagnating? And is that following responding to me? Am I getting people, replying to me on Twitter? Am I getting people clicking from Twitter over to my site? Are the number of followers going up? Does it appear like I'm getting the kinds of followers on Twitter that I enjoy delivering value to, that I enjoy associating with? Are the kinds of questions. And then the same thing for, your email list is looking at, okay, well, is the number of opt-ins, is it going up? Am I having a net gain week over week? I mean, one of the key metrics we look at every week is what was our net subscriber gain. Now, we know that it's just part of the territory that every day, every week, there are people that are unsubscribing from our list, and that's just the way it goes. That's fine. That's part, people are going to come and go. That's just the nature of the game. But what we want to see is that at the end of the week, the opt-ins minus the people that unsubscribed was a net positive gain. And, if that net positive gain is going up, that means that the growth is accelerating. That's always a good thing too. But at first it's just, am I seeing people opting into my list and just kind of, enjoying that feeling of people are finding you, they're finding what you're saying valuable, and they're raising their hand and saying that they want more. They're giving you permission, which is part of that money map that we've talked about on the show, as well as we talk about in, I think, Module 4 of the Internet Business Mastery Academy. So the growth of your following, and even, to this day, that's something that every week we're looking at. How is our following growing? The second thing to kind of be looking at is conversion. You want to be seeing people moving through a process towards buying from you. Now, you might not be to the point of offering anything yet. You might not be to the point of having your own product or even offering an affiliate product of any sort. However, there's other points of conversion that you can look at. We talk in the academy about the process of, first you get their attention. This is what we call the money map. First you get their attention, and then once you've got their attention, the next goal is to, some percentage of those to get their permission, to have them raise their hand figuratively and go, oh, I'm interested in this, and opt into your email list or follow you on Twitter, and then to engage with them over time. And then, after you've engaged with them over time, to watch that relationship grow. So if you just think of, at every point, we call that the funnel that people are moving through, and some percentage of people are moving from one step to the next. Well, what is that percentage of people that are marching through that? Are you seeing traffic to your site? Okay, well, are you seeing some percentage of that traffic signing up for your email list or following you on Twitter? Are you seeing some percentage of those people starting to interact with you, reply to your emails, or reply to you on Twitter, or comment on your blog posts? Because that's the third part of the money map, is engagement. So are you seeing that kind of engagement? So actually, checking out what are those numbers for, every 1,000 people that hit my website, how many of those people are signing up for my email list? And finding out what that number is, and then trying to, over time, get that number to be an incrementally higher over time. Now, eventually, when it does come time to make some money, then it's, well, how many people, for every person that's on my email list, when I send out a promotion, whether it's for an affiliate product or for my own product, how many people buy, what percentage of people buy the product? And one really handy metric is just to know, well, for every one person that was on my email list, how many dollars did I make over that promotion? So let's say you have 1,000 people on an email list and you send out a promotion and you get, let's say you get 20 people to buy. So that's about 2%, which would actually not be that bad at all. So 2% of people, 20 people out of 1,000. And let's say that, out of those 20 people, the thing that you were selling was a $100 product. So that means you just made $2,000. Okay, so you just made $2,000 given 1,000 people that were on your email list. So you just made $2 for every person that was on your email list. And then you can just, over time, you're starting to get an idea of like, well, for every new person that I have on my list, that's how much money they're worth to me when I promote this type of a thing. And so then you have a metric to kind of try to, take that a little bit higher. And so that's another one that we watch regularly as well. And then every week we also want to know, okay, well, just overall, how much money did our business bring in? I mean, we said, you should have motivations other than money, but it's still a very important metric. And we want to see that number is growing. Every week over week, are we doing things that bring in sales? Are we seeing the number of sales, a net growth in the number of sales? Are we seeing a net growth in the amount of income that's coming in as well? So whether you want to set up, some kind of spreadsheet and pick whichever metrics might be depending on where you're at. I mean, if you've just started your site and you're just starting to create content, well, then the only metrics might be, how much traffic am I getting and how many comments did I get on my blog posts overall this week? And that might be the ones to kind of follow. But if you're kind of to the point of now you've got your email list set up and you've got the opt-in form, okay, well, maybe now the next metric for success to kind of add is, well, okay, how much is my email list growing week over week? And then just kind of add on in that spreadsheet appropriate to the point and the phase of your business that you're at. It wouldn't be appropriate to be tracking your number of sales if you haven't even gotten to the point of building a list and figuring out what they want, because then you're just going to depress yourself. Of course you don't have sales
every week.
Right. So be appropriate to the phase of your business that you're at. So there's some specific numbers to think about. Now, the final one we want to point out, and this is, really one of the most important, is just purpose and fulfillment. And you'll have to decide how to kind of measure this for yourself. It is a little more of an abstract thing. And there's been different things that we've done at different times. There's last year, one thing we were working on was defining our unique ability according to a book called Unique Ability by Dan Sullivan. Actually, not by Dan Sullivan, based on Dan Sullivan's teachings. And you can find that book on Amazon. And one way, so we discovered after reading that book, well, the more that we are spending, the higher percentage of time that we're spending working on tasks that are based on our strengths, based on our unique ability, based on the things we really thrive at and enjoy doing, then the more fulfilled we'll be. And so we actually came up with some ways of, okay, well, let's track, every day, let's track how much time do we spend working in our unique ability and how much time do we spend working on other stuff. And then come up with a percentage and get a baseline and see if we can increase that over the year. And both of us did that, increased that over the year. And so we just kind of came up with a metric in that way for, are we operating within purpose and fulfillment? Or maybe even just checking in with yourself every Monday or maybe Friday at the end of the week going, okay, how fulfilled was I this week? And just rate yourself on a 1 to 5 in that spreadsheet and go, well, this week was kind of a 2 for me. Why is that? And thinking back and going, well, I ended up dealing with a lot of brush fires and just reacting to a lot of emails that came in. And that's not how I want to, I'm much more fulfilled when I'm making more deliberate decisions. And so, deciding how to adjust that. So whether it's a number system you come up with, whether it's physically, tracking how you use your time, whatever works for you, still giving some thought to purpose and fulfillment is also going to be a key thing too.
Yeah, and speaking to what we talked about earlier, only you can define your success. I thought I would just give the example of me. For me, the things that I like to look over the week and make sure one of these things are there, or if I'm, really lucky that week, all of these things are there. But here's some of the things that for me I had defined as successful because of fulfillment. And one is our live monthly Q&A with our Academy members. I really love doing that, being able to get on and, them coming in and having these issues that, how do I do this? What do I do with this? And we're able to, in just sometimes seconds, help them get over a huge stumbling block. That's definitely, to be able to answer those questions and help brings me a lot of fulfillment, as well as working with our coaching students live. Love doing that. Recording these episodes, I find a lot of fulfillment from this. I mean, this is kind of the base of our whole business, and luckily for both of us, it's part of our unique ability and our fulfillment, since we do quite a bit of them. And also I like empire building and imagining the future and designing the future and, several more things. And these are all things that assist and inspire others to achieve freedom, which is actually part of my purpose, and the act of doing them fulfills me. So, again, that was my finding the definition of what works for me. And then again, if I can try and make it so that at least one of those things, if not all of them, happen every week, then I feel successful on the fulfillment side for sure.
All right, so there's some of our suggestions just to kind of review, keep those principles in mind. It's about progress, not perfection. Only you can define success for yourself, and make sure that you're measuring more than just money. So early on, it's about growing your following. So whatever metrics are appropriate for where you're at in your business, your Twitter following, your email subscription opt-in, or maybe as it gets further along and you get more advanced, and let's say you've started a podcast now. Okay, well, how many people are subscribed to your podcast feed? Whatever is appropriate for you. Conversion numbers, how many people, what percentage of people are actually that visit your site are signing up for your email opt-in, or what percentage of people are, buying when you send a promotion out. And then tracking, when you get to that phase, the money, the number of sales or the amount of overall gross income that's come in. And so just deciding on 2 or 3 metrics, maybe starting a spreadsheet, adding a metric as you add new things and it becomes appropriate in your business. But most of all, definitely take a moment, like we do every week in our strategy meeting, to think about what were the breakthroughs for this week? How was my purpose and fulfillment? Am I operating in a way that's conducive to my purpose and fulfillment? And I'd say, as long as you are seeing, upward numbers that are appropriate to where you're at in your business, as long as you're defining success for yourself, making sure that you do stay fulfilled, that the money is going to follow, is going to come, and, just keep moving forward. And you will find that you'll reach those new milestones of success. All right, we've got an especially awesome breakthrough well, they're all awesome. I don't know what I'm saying. Especially awesome.
Yet another awesome breakthrough. We put them in the show
because we think they're awesome. And the person clearly thought it was awesome. That's why they posted it. But this one is another Academy member. This is Ben Inkster. And this one's a little bit longer, but it's really good. I want to read through this. So this is what Ben had to say. He said, I've been listening to the podcast for the last year and decided to sign up to the Academy because of the great results I've had by just applying the concepts you talk about on the show. I've taken massive action. In December, a client of mine and I decided to collaborate on a new project at www.turncoatrealtor.com. The idea was to create a series of products to help people sell their own houses using techniques mastered by the veteran realtor. So he got to work with writing the ebook over the holiday season, and I got busy on the website and everything else that goes with it. Set up an email list, configured a payment processor, set up the system to automatically deliver the information product. I wrote a few blog posts, and I shot some video for the site. Then I configured social media and polished the graphics. That's a lot of stuff, Ben.
Wow.
Talk about taking massive action.
I took the whole time off.
I took that. Yeah, it's amazing. Then he continues, instead of using AdSense, I decided to launch my site using Facebook's advertisement system. I set up an ad, created a budget, and launched. I started to get traffic almost immediately. This is very exciting. However, the bigger breakthrough is that by the end of the day, I'd sold my first ebook.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Hopefully this is the start of something great. Thanks, Sterling and Jay. I couldn't have done it without the wealth of information you give in your show and here in the Academy. That's fabulous. I mean, right there. We love massive action. I love that you went ahead and dove in and said, you know what, I'm going to try some Facebook ads, and that, you got that traffic in right away, got a sale. I mean, right there, you've got proof that you're on to something that people want. It's always nice to get to a sale as quickly as possible, especially if that's one for your own product. I think it's a fabulous niche and a great idea. And I'm thrilled to hear that it's off to a strong start. So definitely keep us in the progress on that.
Yeah. And, getting a sale the very first day you put it out like that is absolutely amazing. And it kind of reminded me, we've actually got a Facebook ad product that we're working very hard on. We're very hard on, and I'll tell you that I was able to the fastest out of doing testing and testing. The fastest I was able to get a sale was in 2 hours after the ad went live. So, and that took me a lot of testing, and you got one your first day, your first try. Good job.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us, Ben.
And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
All right, on today's Quick Tip, we're continuing with the theme of sharing blogs that are providing us with inspiration. These days, what we're kind of reading and paying attention to. This one is a blog by Scott H. Young, and you can find him at scotthyoung.com. This one is absolutely fascinating. Let me just read the quick little about me he has in the sidebar. He says, I'm a speed reading, vegetarian, holistic learning, productivity hacking, recent university graduate. And for the last 5 years, I've been experimenting to find out how to get more from life. I don't promise I have all the answers, just a place to start. So it's all about getting more from life. And as he says in the tagline, he's got over 850 articles devoted to one idea, how to get more from life, whether that involves doubling your reading rate or learning more with less studying or beating procrastination or just understanding other people better and yourself. So I love it. You know, we've started a mastermind recently, Sterling. It was an idea you came up with all about how to kind of push the limits of our possibilities and, everything from memory to learning faster to physical health and things like that. So that's why this one caught my attention, is like, just these cool little tips and hacks and experiments this guy is doing about, higher limitless performance. And I just love that idea. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and I'll say, my recommendation is that, in my Google Reader, on the show and in the blog, I talk a lot about information diet, and I had stripped out my Google Reader, and I now have 9 blogs I read about once a week or so, and he made the cut. So he's still there. So
nice.
There you go. He's now on the list. So that's my recommendation. He made it to the final cut. So definitely something interesting to check out. If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to InternetBusinessMasteryAcademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5 Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.